Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, nice. Sorry, I
Cool.
couldn't get the Zoom stuff. Yeah.
All right, let me share my screen. All right. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so w welcome everybody, those who are joining live and who will see this recorded call. Um, Thanks for being a part of Trinity. Since this is the first Sunday call, just want to welcome everybody. It means a lot to us for your support. So tomorrow we'll have a separate call where we break down, what the service is going to be all about, how you can best utilize the service. We'll break down all those components, but today we're going to focus on some charts and setups going into the week ahead. Just a reminder, Monday or tomorrow is a market holiday for MLK Day. So it'll be a shorter week, Tuesday through Friday. Um, I usually st like to start from the indices. So here's a chart of SPX, the S&P 500, and those of you who traded this past week know that we had a pretty strong reversal after a week, sort of first full week in 2025, which was the week before. And the trigger or catalyst for that was the CPI report, right? Where the reading came in lower than expected. So the markets got a much needed relief rally. And the way we sort of ended the week here, I'd drawn this trend line the week before. As you can see, we kind of closed right above it and very near 6,000. And so, very good response from the market last week. But the question is, what do we look for going forward? So, 6,000 is a key psychological level. So, what you want to see ideally this coming week is, a couple closes over 6,000. And then, we can start to think about the market going back towards that all-time high near 6,100, right? We do have a bunch of sort of big tech earnings coming up in the next couple of weeks. So they'll be a big catalyst for resolving whichever the mar way the market goes, whether, we break out to the upside into February or, we base around more in this sort of range between 6,000 and 5,800 that we have been doing since pretty much November since that election gap up, right? So the market net hasn't really gone anywhere in the last month at least. Um, so that's what I would look for. On the upside, 6,000 is sort of the very simple level to look for that gets defended on any sort of dips. And then over this sort of these two highs here, so around 60 20, let's say, and the high from Friday's 60 13, like above that, you could catch a quick breakout trade intraday to around 60 50. Um, so that's something to look forward to. And then if we switch to QQQ, which is the tech index, similar looking chart. You could draw a very similar sort of downtrend line. That the market just sort of closed over. I would look at it very similarly as SPX, right? What you want to see is, these sort of levels like 520 is a good level here. I'll just add that in over here. You want to see this week market not definitely not going any lower than 515, defend these lows here. But ideally, just keep trading above 520 to have a chance to get back near, 527, 530 area toward the end of the week. So those are sort of the two indices, right, that we primarily look at to help us guide sort of our stock selection and whatnot. So I have a number of charts that I want to go through looking into the next week. So I'll go through those individual names now one by one. And then I think at the end, Ramsey, you can add if there are any that's on your radar too that I may have missed.
Great. Yep.
Start with coin, and just talk about sort of crypto in general. Maybe it's helpful that I look at Bitcoin, show you guys Bitcoin first. So, Bitcoin has been like after the election, right? It went from those old highs at around, this 72,000, 74,000 highs, finally broke over those highs after 8 months, right? So big base, and those big bases always lead to explosive moves higher. So it went from around 72,000 all the way to almost 110 in the matter of pretty much a month. And then, the last month has pretty much done nothing, right? It's just chopped around a number of tries to break this area near 90,000, 92,000. And then last week there was a big sort of, this is what I would call a fake breakdown where it undercut this 92 area by almost $3,000 and then really bounced hard to close around 94 and then reclaimed 100K, which is a very bullish sign. And along with CPI, this sort of set up for really good trades in the crypto sector when you look at individual stocks. So you had Coin had a very similar sort of fake breakdown setup here, where the December 31st low around 246, it undercut that but closed over, nice hammer candle. Um, and then after CPI, it gapped up and then just kept going, right? It gapped up to 267 and hit 300 within 3 days. Um, so now coin, I think the thing to keep in mind with coin specifically is if you look at the weekly chart, so bigger picture, right? It has a really nice sort of almost like a cup and handle structure on the weekly. So it IPO'd in 2021. And that was pretty much the high since like forever for now. Hit 430 on IPO and then never went back there again. And then in the last sort of 2.5 years, it's really just it sold off from 430 all the way to $30. Big drawdown in the bear market of 2022, and then based right for almost May 2022 to all the way to November 2023, 1.5 years of pretty much sideways action, and then really started to pick up end of 23, all of last year, especially the first half, and then has sort of now been sort of in a bigger range between 280 and 150 the last 6 months. But bigger picture, this to me looks like it wants higher, plus with a pro crypto administration that's coming in. I think Coin is one of those names that you really want to keep on watch for this year. It's like we're traders. We respond to price and not try to guess everything. But I think my baseline expectation would be Coin can be one of those names that can have a sustained sort of rally like Nvidia did last year, for example. So every year you have one or a few names that you can keep trading for a few months at a time where they're in a nice smooth uptrend and you just catch a lot of good momentum trades on. So I'd keep an eye on coin in general this year, I would say. But going back to the daily, I think for this week, what you might see on Tuesday is a fairly big gap up. It also depends on what President Trump, if he makes any comments relevant to the crypto sector, and watch how Bitcoin reacts tomorrow on his comments during inauguration or any executive orders he announces on his first day. But that aside, I'm sure many of you know that they launched the Trump coin, which has made many millions already over the last 2 weeks. I did not catch any of it, but one positive news for Coin and Hood would be when Trump Coin gets listed on these exchanges. And I think Coinbase has already announced that that's happening. Um, and then Robinhood could also follow suit, but you could have coin gap up quite a bit, like maybe 4 or 5% gap up around 315 area. In that case, I wouldn't chase that gap up, right? I would wait to see if you can get a 300 back test sometime early in the week. And then look at calls, maybe not this week, but for the week of 131. The 350 call could be one idea, for example, because if coin gets a sustained momentum in the next 2 weeks, I think it can test 350, right? These old highs from December. And then over that, there's a big wick from 2021 at 369 or so. And then really pretty much empty space over that. There's nothing till 400 because the IPO day was a big range day from 430 all the way to 310. So that's what I would watch on coin for this week. And then MSTR is the other name, right, in the crypto space. So MSTR broke out last fall, right? Um, from a really good trade through this 200 level that I know many of you caught. Um, and now it's been basing for the like after having this extension move where it gapped up and then really had a strong red day. It's been basing, right? Um, and this week, like coin, there was a pretty strong bounce, right? It closed almost near 400. This sort of 440 to 450 area is a very obvious sort of resistance spot, right? It failed one, two, three times in the last month. So that's where you'd see a lot of breakout traders step in. But despite that, I think even trading off of 400 is something that I would look to do this week. So, similar to coin, if it gaps up, I wouldn't chase it right away. I would wait for a 400 back test or even a 380, 3 to 385 area back test. This is a pretty good level here. And that's how I would play it. Especially if it gaps up, the premiums are going to be super expensive. So it's something that is easier to play, from Wednesday onwards. But we'll definitely keep it
Yeah,
on watch.
we have those 500 calls still.
Yeah,
So
oh, that's right. We also have, if we do gap up, we do have some 500
yeah,
calls.
and those should just pop anyways with IV and
Hmm.
just options and how they work. And we'll explain all this like throughout the service. But yeah,
Yeah.
should pay nicely as long as Trump doesn't say anything stupid after inauguration.
Yeah.
We should
Yep.
be good.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. And then so I think I forgot Hood in my list, but I'm gonna cover Hood really quickly because it's sort of the same theme. Um, so Hood, last week was the entry for Hood because it's a nice base breakout. 43 to 44 was the area to sort of get long on. I would, if you're already in hood, great job. Maybe it even gaps up more, just like coin and MSTR tomorrow if there's positive news. But again, for hood, again, I would wait, not chase the gap up. Wait for maybe a back test of this 46 level, or if there's a big sell the news event this week on crypto, watch for the 44 back test. That could be a really good entry into the next few weeks if you get it. But like along with coin, Hood is another name I would watch very closely in 2025 overall. I think this goes back towards the all-time highs in the 80s, I think it was. Also around the time of IPO, yeah, 85, and then eventually 100. Um, Again, with the pro crypto administration, it's a stock I think that can do really well under this administration. All right, moving on from crypto, a few other names I have on watch are Costco. So Ramsey alerted some really good trade on the zero DTs on Friday. that went more than a double. But
Yeah, I
overall,
think they went like 7x, 8x. I don't even
oh
know.
yeah. Oh right, yeah. End of the day,
They
I
popped to
forgot.
like four almost from like point
Yeah,
0.60. That was yeah, crazy.
yeah,
It looks good
8x.
though. This is something that I don't mean to cut you off, but this is finally shaping up to be
Hmm.
back in play after that, reject at 1,000 a few times, and then
Yeah,
that nasty market sell off. But definitely watch this moving forward. I think you know, had some nice December sales last week,
yeah.
which caused it to spike like 2 or 3% after hours or something. And I
Hmm.
think through 950, we can really see this start heading back to 1,000, which obviously was
Yeah,
set for a bigger trade.
yeah, totally agree. I mean, great, great candle, especially after, I actually played puts on this day. This day, market was weak to open. It was 14th. It was, I think, the day before CPI, but coming into that day, it had a very, very nice bear flag, and the market opened weak. But after CPI, it actually had some weakness, but on Friday, it kind of negated all of that. So I say that to say that, when there's a bear flag that fails, that's a bullish line. So after Friday's candle, there's no reason to be bearish cost anymore. Like Ramsey said, you just want to look for this 950 area, and it's also where the 50-day moving average is, like which is the purple line here. So it could set up for a nice trade in the coming week or two. So we'll definitely keep this on watch. And then one other name in the chip sector, AVGO Avgo. This is a really good setup in my opinion for this week. And the reason is, you know, it had this strong earnings gap, which, it's held, right, all the way through market weakness. Sometimes when the market sells off, you have these names that completely give back all their gains. It's been volatile between 250 and 220, but, it's kept all its gains, pretty much all its gains since the top. And then this week, this was a hard day because this was a day where it gapped up, but wicked off at the open and sold off. But I think after that, on Friday, it gapped up, sort of had it had an inside day. Um, Now it's really sort of so it just can't sell off, right? It tried to sell off, but it can't. So now this area around 239, 240 becomes really interesting for a breakout trade, and also considering the sort of downtrend line on that flag. So I think this is a pretty this is one of my top focuses for this week. I think it has a move to possibly even 250 this week if it can get break through and close over 240. So I would definitely keep this on watch. Um, Same sector, another good chart is Marvell. I mean, super bullish, right? Like again, like strong earnings, has been sort of flagging around, but the range is getting tighter and tighter. And then, Friday was a good entry. I missed it, but even if you missed Friday, I think this area around 125, 126 is one to watch for a breakout trade. So we'll have this one on watch as well. And like the chip sector right now is interesting because there's a lot of divergence. Like if you look at Nvidia, it's been like mostly weak, I would say, but also very sideways for the last few months. Really bad reaction on that sort of event a few weeks ago. Right, this is a terrible candle, right? So I mean, I would say don't touch Nvidia now. Like, there's no reason to play this, but you should always look at names that are acting strong. Unless you are a long-term investor and you believe in the company and your time horizon is, literally years. I mean, that's totally fine if you want to buy shares. But a lot of people, get lost a little bit in sort of buying options in a name that's going down just because they believe in the company, and that's a recipe to lose money over time. Like we've been there. Like AMD is a great example. Um, Very popular name that's kind of loved, but you could have tried to buy here, saying this is the bottom, this is the bottom, this is the bottom. there is no bottom yet, right? Like you need several sort of a few weeks of uptrend to say, okay, this might be the bottom. So don't try to go bottom fishing with options. But to return sort of to our watch list, like these are the stocks you want to play at or near highs, right? They're the ones that are leading the market, and that's where you should be. Um, Moving on, I think within sort of big cap tech, I like Google. It might need a little bit more time, but that two like 198 to 200 is an area of interest. 200 is probably the easier sort of trade, the level you just wait for, set an alert and forget it. It will be a good trade. The one variable here is that earnings are coming up, and so if we get a strong upside move, the earnings might take the 200 out, and that could make for a nice trade after earnings too. So keep that on watch. Earnings on Tuesday, February 4th. But, if you look at Apple, right? Apple has been weak. It sold like this is, very, very weak. Like sold from it had a great run, which we caught, but then it had, pretty big sell-off here, right? From 260 to 230. You don't want to be playing Apple, right? Like let it base, let it show signs of strength. You want to be playing this name like that's holding that held with the market sell-off, right? Which is very impressive for a stock that's, within the top, five or seven by market cap. Um, and then there are a few names like Net, sort of in the software cloud space. Don't love this Friday candle, but I still have it on the list just because the overall setup is still there here. Here, two ways to play this. You can wait for 120 to get reclaimed and try that. Or, if you get a back test of 113, I would keep that on watch. Like this is not a setup that's actionable on Tuesday. It might even take a week or two, but I just put it on here for you guys to keep a watch on. Um, and then Snow is another name. I would recommend trading shares on this. I think Snow does well this year overall. Might not be a bad buy on shares. Um, if you do play options, I would, maybe one trade you can consider is this over 173. I would get the 180s for 131. Don't try weeklies. This is not a top setup, but I have it here because I think if you look at IGV, which is the um, ETF for the cloud sector, it's showing some signs that it can bounce, sort of reclaiming this 100 level, right? So whenever IGV shows some signs of bouncing, I'm looking at, names like Snow, Net, maybe Datadog. Datadog is still weak, so not yet, but that's where my mind is going to. That's why I have some of these on watch, even if they not may not be right away actionable. Um, Okay, so then moving on with Tesla, Tesla did had a pretty good week. The close of the candle was a little weak. Um, a strong wick from 440, but it looks pretty good, right? Overall, like a huge run after the election, still looks very, very strong. I think Tesla, has a great year. It's pretty much your liquid leader, right? It is this leading stock that has the maximum amount of liquidity right now in this market. And it's just a matter of time before it gets back near 500. It has earnings coming up too, it's 29th, so that could be a catalyst. For this week, I personally like I'll see how it gaps tomorrow on Tuesday, but um unless there's like a very good risk reward opportunity, I might just wait after earnings. But overall, I definitely like how it's sort of setting up for that 500 again after sort of back testing near this 370 area and then reclaiming 400 pretty convincingly last week. Um, Last week, I mean, if you had sort of long-term options or shares, it was a good balance. But this is hard price action here. Like gap up, like strong day, close at the highs, gaps up, completely dumps, which almost looks bearish after the close under 400. Gaps up. continues all day. So hard price then gaps down. So it's like hard price action. So maybe better to wait until earnings for a play with at least with meaningful size, but definitely one you want to keep on watch all year. Um, Reddit is one that I really like. It's been setting up really nicely. This 180 to 182 area is really key here. So along with sort of AVGO, for example, I definitely think Reddit is a top watch this week. It has earnings coming up on the 12th, so we have 3 weeks. So it could be a nice setup for a swing play. Maybe grab. We'll see what which calls make sense, but I would maybe look at the February 21st chain, see how much the 200 calls are. If they're, $2 or so, they're pretty good opportunity in my opinion. But even if it's not a swing, I think this name is worth a day trade over this 181, 182 area. Couple other names that, I don't trade that often, but the charts look really good. I saw this LITE, and again, a part of me going through these charts is also for you guys to understand what's the sort of uh, how do the charts overall look like? And you'll see the theme is that, we want to trade stocks that are at or near highs. So this one fits that description, right? So usually for these, like even if I don't trade them, I have them on watch, I have alerts, and then, if I have a day where nothing is happening, but this one other, stock that I don't really trade is triggering, I'll take a shot. But usually,
हाय
there are
फ्रेंड्स,
enough
वेलकम टू
being
आवर
made
चैनल लर्न बिफोर यू
that
हायर।
we
ठीक
don't
है,
have to play
देन वर्क
play.
लोअर। अभी यहाँ पे देखो क्या लिख।
I just muted that guy, but all right. So then. Onan is a name that I like. It's a shoe company. Some of you may know the On shoes. The entry was sort of Friday, but here I would look to see if you can get a back test. 57 area. It could set up for a nice swing into February. Like I have the February 60s on watch for that. This is more of a name that you want to like maybe not day trade, but take a few weeks out and play the longer term sort of setup. It's been in a nice uptrend where rips bases rips. So here's another base. So probably goes to the 65 area next. Um, and then Amazon also looks pretty good in big cap tech. So I have it in my list. Oh, I don't trade Amazon very much, but the way I would trade Amazon is also has earnings coming up next week. Um, if you wanted to trade it, you could take a day trade over 230, or maybe wait after earnings. All right, almost there. Deck is a name I included because Onan and Deck are in the same sort of theme. They're both shoe companies. This one also looks pretty good over around 213 area for a breakout trade. It has earnings coming up end of the month. So we'll see if we can spot any interesting sort of swing lotto ideas into earnings this week, and let you guys know. And then the final name I have this week on my list is RBRK. Liked this candle on Thursday. Really nice hammer candle. Had this big move on earnings, has been basing since, and now might be trying to break out. So here I would wait for the 70 for taking maybe a swing trade over 70 a few weeks out, targeting around 75. But yeah, those are sort of the names I have in watch. Rems, you might have some others too. I may have missed. The other thing is the Zoom, because this is the free version, we might be running out of time in like 6 minutes. So I did want to rush through all the setups, but I'll stop talking now, and Rems, you can add if I missed anything.
Yeah, so I mean Tito pretty much covered you guys can hear me, right? Just making sure.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Tito pretty much covered everything. I mean, yeah, there's the crypto theme is hot. The market's obviously bouncing. So I don't really have much to add. Let me just actually, I'm signing here on my phone here to see my watch list. Had signed me out last night for some reason. I think there's like an update going on. Um, yeah, I actually have a couple
Okay.
tickers
Yeah,
that
I
I'm
can I
watching.
can I can pull them up.
Perfect. First thing you want to pull up for me, please, is cat.
Oh yes.
Okay, so this is a name that I'm watching. I think it has earnings first week of February, but industrial names obviously have been very strong on this, rally forward. We've seen D, Cat, HD catch a bid, and I think Cat and D are the top, two of the ones that have been really sticking out to me as far as like, holding intraday gains and having day two, day three follow throughs, which are very important. So for this, I'm gonna be watching the February monthly. I think it's February 20, was
First.
it
Yeah.
21? Yeah,
Yeah, 21.
21st.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 420 calls. I think I want to swing these ones into earnings. I actually might take these on a small account because I do think we can test 400
Yep.
honestly before earnings. And if we do, those contracts will probably be like six or $5 or $6, and I think they're like $2 right now. So this is definitely something I'm watching forward. And I think DE we took a small position on Friday. I don't have too much of this because I was on a plane and I couldn't obviously manage. But yeah, this one, I think those 500 calls that I mentioned are up like what 20%,
Yeah, around
15% before
20%.
the
Yep.
close.
Mm-hmm.
And this obviously has been like a monster since last earnings. And we caught that. I don't know if you guys remember, we caught that entire move from like 400 to like 450 in a couple sessions.
Yeah. Yeah, right here.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so this is obviously something that I'm watching going forward. And I think the ones that we have now for February, we're well positioned in these, right? So it has earnings on February 20th, from what I remember. So this catches earnings. And what's nice about this, it also catches cat earnings, which
Yep.
is obviously a sympathy play, so that can help this. So yeah, these two I'm definitely watching this week going forward. I mean, we're gonna see how the price action is Tuesday and Wednesday. I think, like Tito said, Tuesday we might get like some ridiculous gap up on some names and especially crypto names. But we'll have to see how the market acts the first hour or probably 2 hours to see what gets sold, what holds. You don't want to, you don't want to get caught buying the top on these names because then it's like, you're gonna take a massive loss
Yep.
and you don't want that. And then yeah, so those two definitely keep a watch. I'm also obviously we mentioned Costco. I like this over 950 or anywhere near 948. I'll be watching this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably get super aggressive on this if it gets anywhere near there, and I'll mention to you guys,
Yep.
before obviously I enter and what I'm looking at, but definitely keep this on watch. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you really talked about almost all the names I'm watching.
Yeah.
Tesla's obviously a good one. It has earnings next week. I think there's some rumors that are coming out now saying that they're going to start taking Tesla Model Y orders this week for the new facelift.
Mm-hmm.
So, that could be a nice catalyst considering, obviously the more sales, the more, Tesla benefits. So we could see maybe at 470, 480 after earnings if this has a positive reaction. So I'll definitely look into some lottos.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing too crazy on Tesla, but I definitely want to be in it just in case it does something, crazy for earnings. You
Yeah.
definitely don't. I don't want to miss that. Just I'd rather lose like let's say $200-300 than miss out on like a 5x play if it gets to like 500 or something. So we'll definitely watch that before earnings. And let me see. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching this entire time. I mean, these names are really hard to trade, but for example, like RH and WSM,
Mm-hmm.
these, I
Yeah.
mean, these monster, monster charts, right? They look like they're going to break out any second.
Yeah.
They're just super, super hard to play in time.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm leaning towards RH, if anything, but I haven't really found anything that's like worth buying at the moment. But I'm waiting to see if those February premiums come down a little bit,
Yeah.
for a swing play because this is shaping up to be like a nice swing. But yeah, Tito,
Okay.
I think you honestly covered most of the stuff, and I think we could talk more tomorrow if you guys would like. I'm going to do some more reviewing tomorrow, obviously before market on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, our MSCR calls are looking good if you guys are holding the coin 350s. I think we have like
Yep.
half a position left.
Yep.
Those are looking good. Bitcoin's at 106,000. So yeah, it's looking like a nice green start to the week for Tuesday if this can all hold up.
Hmm. Yeah, and we'll post all these charts for you guys in the Discord. And yeah, if we find anything tomorrow extra, we'll include those as well.
And if you guys have questions into tomorrow, just post them,
Yeah,
and
post them in the
we can.
questions channel. We'll cover
Yeah,
them tomorrow.
this is why we're here now, right? So post them in the question channel. We'll try to answer as many as we can. We'll probably answer actually all of them.
Yeah.
And anything that's like super repetitive,
We
we'll
have an
pin in some.
FAQ now as well.
Right.
So, yeah. Hmm.
But we'll try to answer all your guys' questions. Feel free to ask. All of us are available, most of the time.
Yep.
That's why we're here to help. And then yeah, it's gonna be an exciting year. I think the year is just getting started. I think what Trump actually did over the weekend, you know, probably opened up
We might drop off with the time limit because of the Zoom thing.
what do we got, like a minute left?
Yeah, like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah,
But
so yeah, I mean Trump's definitely starting off hot, and I think he's gonna. It's exciting, right? So we'll see what happens. But anyways, before this cuts off, I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. This will be recorded if you guys wanna go back and watch it. But
yep.
yeah, that's it.
Thank you guys.